Ladies and gentlemen, the wonderful Sally Crandall.
Thank you. It was about 4 years ago that my husband and I made out our applications to join the Peace Corps. We met with a young woman from Ohio State at Caribou Coffee. We sat down across from each other. Mr. Crandall, my husband and I were going in this together. Mr. Crandall, why do you want to join the Peace Corps? Oh, I want to join the Peace Corps because I want to be with Sally. Mr. Crandall, that is not a good reason to join the Peace Corps. Well, Nelson, he thought a couple of minutes, and he came up with, he said, well, you know, I didn't serve in Vietnam, and I think being in the Peace Corps would be a good opportunity to serve my country in a way that I believe in. She wrote that down. Mrs. Crandall, why do you want to join the Peace Corps? I had a reason. I had told the reason to Nelson, but I wasn't going to tell it to this lady. I told her another very perfectly good reason, which she did write down, but the real reason I joined the Peace Corps was for adventure and romance. When our application was accepted, we told the people in Washington, we don't want to go to Africa, and we don't want to be teachers. And we didn't want to go to Africa because it seemed so big, and it seemed so hot, and it seemed so foreign, and we didn't want to be teachers, well, because we'd both been teachers. I'd been in a school for a really long time, and then I managed to wiggle myself from being a classroom teacher into the position of being a librarian, which I really did like. Well, we waited, and we waited, and we waited until our time to be accepted was almost up, when there was a ring on the telephone and Nelson answered the telephone. Mr. Crandall, if you want to be in the Peace Corps, you and your wife, you're going to have to expand your parameters. Oh, all right, we'll go anywhere. We'll do anything. It was just weeks later, a big package of papers came. We were going to go to Central Africa. We were going to go to Rwanda. And we were going to be teachers. I was going to be a middle school English teacher, and Nelson was going to be a middle school math teacher. We showed up for training in Nyanza, which is a town about an hour outside of Kigali, where we were going to have 3 months of training getting ready for our 2 years of service. There were 68 other Peace Corps volunteers. The average age was 23. We spent 12 hours every day, Monday through Friday, and then half a day on Saturday, learning what we needed to know. Nelson and I both received medical kits, which could do anything short of major surgery. I learned that the dresses that I brought, which came right to my knee and came up further if I sat down, and the shirts that I brought were here but not down on my shoulders, and the pants, all would be deemed immodest in Rwandan society. The women dressed modestly, except for cleavage for some reason, but I didn't have shirts that did that. And we learned how to speak Kinyarwandan. Moraho. That means hello. You can try it. Moraho. You say that in the morning, and anyone you say it to will say it right back to you. But then we found out in Kinyarwandan, which is the Rwandan language, those words are 18 to 20 letters long. They include boy parts, girl parts, indirect objects, direct objects, whether you're speaking to a person, to a grandparent, to a pet, to a piece of furniture, it's all in one word. One Saturday, we were discussing bicycle helmets Saturday morning. That day, we were going to receive bicycles, all of us. And in Rwanda, I'd seen lots of bicycles. I hadn't seen any women riding bicycles, but I hear that they are. But I didn't see any. The bicycles I saw were old bicycles, all kind of cobbled together, handed down from father to son, brother to brother. I saw wooden bicycles that people had carved. We were getting brand new bicycles. And that we spent that morning talking about bicycle helmets and exactly what would happen to us if we were caught without wearing our bicycle helmets, something that no one in Rwanda wears. If we were caught without our bicycle helmet, we would be sent home within 24 hours because the Peace Corps takes the safety of their volunteers very seriously. So Nelson and I, we ate lunch really quick because we wanted to get down to Mupemba's house because that's where the bicycles were stored. Mupemba is the person who takes charge of all the technical stuff going on at the training site, the teachers, the meals, where everybody's staying. So we walked down the road under the trees into the town. We walked past the moto taxis, we walked past the bicycle taxis, we walked past little shops, and then we turned left right up where Mupemba's road was, and we got to his house, and his house is like any other Rwandan house. It has a big wall all around it, and broken glass on the top of the wall. And so I opened the big gate and stepped in. And I don't know how it happened, but we were just about the last of those 68 volunteers. It was like a beehive in there with everybody looking for their bicycle. So I set to work, and I'm looking, and I had to be among the last because I found my bike way down at the end of a long hall next to the bathroom. It had my name on it about that big. And I wheeled it out, and I stood in line to get the tires pumped up. I stood in line to attach my pedals and make sure that my brakes were working. And then I was ready to go. I looked for Nelson. Oh, I wanted the rest of that Saturday, and there he was. He knows a lot about bicycles, so he was helping the last few people get their bikes ready. Well, I wasn't gonna wait. So I took my bike and I opened the gate. All day, Peace Corps volunteers had been squirting out of that gate. At first, there'd been a big crowd watching, but now the shadows were long, people were going home. So when I stepped out, there wasn't anybody there to see or laugh. And I stood there thinking a minute, and all of a sudden I realized exactly what I looked like. I looked like Wonder Woman's grandma. I had a bicycle helmet, aerodynamic, black, red and white. I had a shiny new red and white Chinese bicycle. I had pants. Well, I got on my bike, and I started to pedal up the road. And it felt so good, because I have a bike at home, and I know how that feels to ride a bike. When all of a sudden, off to the side, I heard someone call out a word. The word was courage. Back at home, lots of people had said we had courage to go to Rwanda, to leave our family, our home, food we knew to eat, all those things. I always accepted that as a compliment and smiled and never told anyone that my real reason was adventure and romance. But here I am going up that road, and a man yells out, "Courage!" Then a woman yells out, "Courage!" A child took it up. Rwanda had once been a territory of Belgium. French is an important language in their country, and they were yelling out, "Courage!" But in French, "Courage!" But I could tell by their faces it didn't mean the same thing as it does here. A force of will, overcoming fear, No, they were smiling at me. It meant good job. It meant don't fall off. It meant we're rooting for you. And I found myself going past the moto taxis and the bicycle taxis. They said courage too. I'm going like this. Because all of a sudden, adventure and romance, it didn't mean what it had. All of a sudden, I felt something different, something deeper. I felt welcome.